Welcome. Today, you're not just going to hear the story of a Hollywood actor. You're going to witness the journey of a boy who couldn't even read, who was beaten by his own father, who moved over 15 times before turning 14, who was mocked, rejected, doubted, and still became one of the greatest and most fearless stars the world has ever seen. This is the story of a man who, even at 60 plus, still risks his life for his dream. He doesn't use stuntmen. He doesn't play it safe. He hangs off planes. He climbs the tallest buildings. Not for money, not for fame, but because he believes. If you do something, give it everything. This is the story of Tom Cruise. And no, this video is not just a biography. This is a lesson in focus, pain, obsession, discipline, heartbreak, love, and comeback. And most importantly, you will learn English through every second of it. I will use simple, clear English so you can enjoy the story and practice listening. You will learn new words, sentences, and ways to speak powerfully, just by watching. So don't just watch with your eyes. Watch with your heart. Because this isn't just a Hollywood story. This is the story of a human being who had nothing and turned it into everything. And if he can do it, maybe you can too. Let's begin. Let's go back to July 3rd, 1962. A baby boy is born in Syracuse, New York, in a small hospital. His name? Thomas Cruise Mapother IV. Mapother was his father's family name. He was the only son, born to Mary Lee, a special education teacher, and Thomas Mapother III, an electrical engineer. But don't get confused by the title engineer. They were very, very poor. His father couldn't keep a job. He would get fired, argue with bosses, move towns. Sometimes they didn't have food. Sometimes they didn't have electricity. And worse, he was abusive. Tom would later say in an interview, he was the kind of person who, if something goes wrong, he kicks you. He was a bully and a coward. Can you imagine being a little child, watching your mother cry and being afraid of your own father? That was Tom's life. Because his father couldn't keep jobs, the family had to move again and again. By the time Tom turned 14, he had lived in over 15 different places. He went to 14 schools in 10 years. That means every time he started to make a friend, they had to leave. Every time he started to feel safe, they had to leave. Every time he tried to learn something new, they had to leave. It made Tom feel lost, alone, different. And it got even worse. At school, Tom couldn't read properly. He looked at a page of words, and nothing made sense. The letters moved. The sentences broke apart. He couldn't follow anything. He had dyslexia, a brain condition that makes reading very hard. But back then, people didn't understand dyslexia. Teachers didn't help. Students laughed at him. They called him dumb, slow, stupid. And inside, Tom started believing it. He tried to hide his reading problem. He would memorize answers, act confident, and pretend to understand. He learned to smile on the outside and suffer on the inside. But there was one person who never gave up on him. His mother, Mary Lee. She saw his pain. She knew he wasn't stupid, just different. And she always told him, "You can do anything, Tom. Don't let anyone else tell you who you are." One day, when Tom was in school, he watched a group of older students perform a play on stage. He didn't understand everything. He couldn't read the script. But something inside him lit up. He said to himself, "I can do that. I don't know why, but I feel like I'm supposed to be up there." That moment changed everything. Tom started joining school drama clubs. He would memorize the entire script because he couldn't read it well. He would watch others, practice facial expressions, body movement, emotions, and people started noticing, he's amazing. He looks natural. He brings fire to the stage. Tom Cruise, the boy who couldn't read, suddenly found his power. Acting wasn't just a passion, it was his escape, his voice, his dream. His parents separated, his father left. His mother raised 4 kids alone, working 3 jobs. Tom helped too, doing paper routes, odd jobs, delivering newspapers. He even considered becoming a priest at one point. But the dream of acting never left. At 18, he made a decision. I'll move to New York. I'll give acting a chance. I'll find a way. With almost no money, no college, no plan, just a dream and hunger, he left. Tom Cruise was just 18 years old when he arrived in New York City. He had no fame, no money, no family with him. Only one thing, a burning dream inside his heart. He wanted to be an actor, not a star, not rich, just an actor. Someone who made people feel something. He lived in a small shared apartment. Sometimes he slept on the floor. Sometimes he skipped meals because he didn't have enough money. He did small jobs to survive, waiter, cleaner, anything. He went to auditions every day. But most casting directors said, "You're not tall enough. You're not strong enough. You don't look like a leading man." But Tom never gave up. He practiced in front of the mirror every single day. He read scripts again and again, even with dyslexia. He watched movies, not just for fun, but to learn. How actors moved, how they spoke, how they showed emotions. He knew, I have to work harder than anyone else. After hundreds of rejections, he finally got a small role in a film called Endless Love, 1981. It was only a few seconds, but it was enough. Then he got another small role in Taps, where he played a military school cadet. The director noticed something in him. He said, "This boy has something, fire in his eyes. He's serious." That fire was real. Tom was hungry, and the world was about to see it. In 1983, Tom got the lead role in a film called Risky Business. He was only 21 years old. There was a famous scene where he dances in his underwear and shirt, sliding across the floor to loud music. That scene became iconic. Suddenly, people were saying, "Who is this guy? He's confident, funny, cool." Risky Business made him a rising star. But he didn't stop. He knew this was just the beginning. In 1986, he got a call for a new movie, Top Gun. He would play Pete Maverick Mitchell, a fearless fighter pilot. But the role required a strong, confident, bold personality. Someone who could carry the whole film. Many people doubted him. But Tom said yes, and he didn't just act. He trained with real Navy pilots. He flew in real fighter jets. He threw up inside the cockpit but never gave up. Top Gun was released in 1986, and the world exploded. It was the biggest film of the year. Suddenly, Tom Cruise was not just a rising actor. He was a superstar. Everyone wanted to know more about him. Magazines, news, Hollywood. They couldn't stop talking about him. And now, he had a new problem. Fame. Most young actors lose control after one big success. They party, they waste time, they think they've made it. But Tom was different. Even after Top Gun, he stayed focused. He didn't party hard. He didn't disappear. Instead, he went back to work. He began choosing roles that would challenge him, roles that would prove he was not just a pretty face. In 1988, he acted in Rain Man with Dustin Hoffman, one of the greatest actors of all time. The story was deep, emotional, about two brothers, one of whom had autism. At first, people said, "Tom can't do emotional roles. He's just an action guy." But they were wrong. Rain Man won 4 Oscars, including Best Picture, and people finally saw Tom Cruise is not just a star. He's a real actor. After Rain Man, he starred in film after film: Born on the 4th of July, A Few Good Men, The Firm, Interview with the Vampire. Each movie was different. Each role was more difficult. Each performance showed more depth, more emotion. And Tom didn't stop. He trained for months for every role. He worked 12 to 14 hours a day. He read every script carefully, despite his dyslexia. He said, "I don't care how hard it is. If I say yes to a movie, I give it everything." While building his career, love entered his life too. In 1987, he married Mimi Rogers, an actress. But they were different. Mimi was older, more private. Tom was just rising into fame. Their marriage ended in 1990, quietly. But during the filming of Days of Thunder that same year, he met Nicole Kidman. She was beautiful, tall, soft-spoken, and deeply talented. They fell in love, fast. And by Christmas 1990, they got married. The world loved them. They adopted 2 children together, Isabella and Connor. For a while, their life looked perfect. But behind the scenes, cracks were beginning to show. In 1996, Tom took another big step. He didn't just act. He became producer for the movie Mission Impossible. He wanted to control his work, create his own legacy. The movie was a massive hit. People were shocked to learn that Tom Cruise did his own stunts. He jumped off buildings, hung from helicopters, ran on rooftops, climbed mountains. And this was just the beginning. Mission Impossible became his signature film series. And over the next 20-plus years, he would keep making them. Bigger, crazier, and more dangerous every time. Behind the camera, his personal life was slowly falling apart. In 2001, after 11 years of marriage, Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman divorced. Nobody saw it coming. It shocked the world. Nicole cried during interviews. Tom stayed silent. But deep inside, he was heartbroken. He later said, "That was a very difficult time in my life. I thought everything was going well. And yet even with his heart broken, even with the media watching his every move, Tom Cruise kept going. He didn't stop working. He didn't run from the camera. He focused harder, because that's who he was. The boy who couldn't read, but never gave up. The media went wild. Magazines were filled with headlines. Why did Tom and Nicole break up? What went wrong? Was it about fame, religion, children? But Tom said nothing. He was silent. He just kept working. But deep down, he was hurting. Nicole later revealed in an interview, "I thought we were going to grow old together, but it ended suddenly, and it broke me." In 2005, everything changed again. Tom met Katie Holmes, a young actress who had become famous from a teen drama series called Dawson's Creek. She was 16 years younger than him, sweet, soft-spoken, shy, and she had a teenage crush on Tom Cruise since she was a girl. When they started dating, it didn't stay private for long. Just a few weeks later, the whole world was watching. Because this time, Tom didn't stay silent. In May 2005, Tom Cruise went on the Oprah Winfrey Show, one of the most watched shows in America. And that's where something unforgettable happened. As Oprah asked him about his love for Katie Holmes, Tom jumped up onto the couch like a teenager in love. He shouted, "I'm in love. I can't be cool. I can't pretend. I'm in love." He smiled, laughed, jumped again. The audience screamed. That moment became famous and also controversial. Some people said, "It's cute." Others said, "He's acting weird." Some called it the end of his reputation. It became one of the most replayed clips in TV history. And from that moment, Tom Cruise was no longer just a movie star. He became a media obsession. Every move he made, every word he said, the press twisted it. They said, "He's controlling. He's strange. He's too deep into Scientology." And that brought us to the next storm in his life. Tom had joined the Church of Scientology many years earlier. It was introduced to him by his first wife, Mimi Rogers. But now, in the mid-2000s, he started speaking more openly about it. He praised it in interviews. He said it helped him overcome dyslexia. He believed in it deeply. But the world didn't understand it. And the media didn't like it. He gave a famous interview where he criticized psychiatry and antidepressants, saying, "There is no such thing as a chemical imbalance." That interview exploded. The media attacked. Psychologists and doctors hit back. People started questioning his sanity. Some said, "Tom Cruise is no longer the hero. He's dangerous. He's arrogant." Suddenly, his image was breaking. In 2006, something beautiful happened. Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes had a daughter. Her name was Suri Cruise. She was born on April 18, 2006, and the world went crazy. Magazines paid millions of dollars to get the first photo. Everyone wanted to see the child of Hollywood's most famous couple. Tom was deeply emotional. He said, "She's the most beautiful baby I've ever seen. I'll protect her with everything I have." He and Katie soon got married in a beautiful Italian castle. The wedding was private, grand, and filled with stars. For a short time, everything seemed perfect again. Over the next few years, something strange started to happen. Katie Holmes slowly stopped appearing in public with Tom. Rumors grew. She looks scared. She's being controlled. She wants to leave. In 2012, just 5 years after their fairy tale wedding, Katie Holmes filed for divorce. She didn't warn Tom. She didn't talk to the media. She simply left, took Suri, and walked away. It shocked the world. Tom Cruise was left alone. Again. And this time, the pain was deeper than ever. After the divorce, Katie Holmes got full custody of Suri. She was now raising her away from the Church of Scientology. Tom and Suri stopped being seen together. Many people asked, does Tom even talk to his daughter? Why doesn't he fight for custody? But Tom stayed quiet. To this day, there are no confirmed reports of him visiting Suri. Some say he still loves her deeply. Others say Scientology created distance. But no one knows for sure. It's one of the most emotional and painful mysteries in his life. In the middle of all this, bad media, broken marriage, child separation, Tom's career was also slowing down. Some of his films didn't do well. Studios started avoiding him. People said, Tom Cruise is finished. His time is over. But what do you think Tom did? Did he cry? Did he disappear? No. He went back to what he always did best. Work, focus, obsession. He started planning the next Mission Impossible films. But this time, he took it even further. In each film, he did more dangerous stunts. Real danger, real risk. No CGI. He hung off a flying airplane, for real. He climbed the tallest building in the world, Burj Khalifa, without a stunt double. He jumped between buildings and broke his ankle, but finished the scene anyway. He flew helicopters, rode motorbikes at 100 kilometers per hour with no helmet, skydived over and over. Why? Because he said, The audience gives me their time. I owe them everything. I want to give them the best. His comeback was not just about success, it was about respect. Even people who hated him before started clapping. Tom Cruise is crazy, but in the best way. He's the last real movie star. Let's talk honestly. Tom Cruise is the most famous Scientologist in the world. But what is Scientology? It's not a regular religion like Christianity or Buddhism. It was founded in the 1950s by a science fiction writer named L. Ron Hubbard. It teaches that humans are spiritual beings and that their minds carry past life pain called engrams. Scientologists believe that through a process called auditing, people can clear their minds of past trauma and become more powerful, more free, more focused. Tom Cruise joined Scientology in the late 1980s. At first, it helped him manage dyslexia. He claimed he learned to read better through their teachings. But over time, he became deeply involved, attending private sessions, climbing spiritual levels, and becoming one of the church's top figures. He became very close to David Miscavige, the leader of Scientology. They were often seen together, in events, meetings, ceremonies. Over the years, many people have spoken against Scientology. Former members claimed, "It controls its members. It uses fear to silence people. It separates families. It's more like a cult than a religion." But Tom Cruise never responded to any of this. He stayed loyal. He once said in a rare interview, "Being a Scientologist, I know that if something goes wrong in my life, I caused it. I can fix it. That gives me power." Many fans were confused. Some left him. Some stayed. But one thing was clear. Tom Cruise does not live like others. He has his own beliefs, his own world, his own rules. After Katie Holmes left and Suri stopped seeing him, Tom became ultra-private. No public girlfriends, no interviews about his family, no emotional breakdowns. It was like he put a wall around himself. Nobody could get in. Nobody could hurt him again. He lived inside his work, inside his training, inside his movies. He became more than a movie star. He became a machine. Now let's look inside his daily life, the reason he performs like he's 30 years old, even at 60 plus. Training. He trains like an Olympic athlete, 2 to 3 hours every day. Weights, cardio, flexibility, martial arts. Trains for specific stunts. Skydiving, flying helicopters, underwater breath control. Has performed more than 5,000 skydives. Can hold his breath over 6 minutes. Diet. No sugar, no junk, no alcohol. Small meals 5 to 6 times a day. Focus on lean protein, vegetables, clean carbs. Drinks tons of water. Doesn't touch processed food. Sleep and recovery. Strict sleep schedule. 7 to 8 hours. Meditation and recovery time. Focuses on mental calmness. This is not just healthy. This is military-level discipline. Tom doesn't just act. He builds the movie from the ground up. For each film, he studies every line, rehearses every scene multiple times, works with camera crew, stunt coordinators, editors, sound engineers, sometimes rewrites parts of the script, watches early edits, and gives detailed feedback. He treats every movie like a mission. He said once, "If people pay money to watch me, I want to give them more than they expected. I want them to say, 'That was worth it.'" Let's now look at the insane things Tom has done in his movies. Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol, 2011. Climbed the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building on Earth. No green screen, no body double, just a cable and his own courage. Wind was 50 miles per hour. One wrong move equals death. Mission Impossible. Rogue Nation. 2015. Hung onto the side of a military cargo plane during takeoff. The plane lifted off with Tom Cruise attached to the door. He did this stunt 8 times to get it right. Mission Impossible. Fallout, 2018. Learned to fly a helicopter from scratch. Did a real high-altitude skydive, HALO. Broke his ankle jumping between buildings. Didn't stop the scene. He kept running with a broken ankle. Top Gun. Maverick, 2022. Flew real fighter jets, with cameras inside. Trained the other actors to handle G-force. Directed aerial scenes himself. No CGI, all real, all dangerous. This is not normal acting. This is pure obsession. By 2023, Tom Cruise had done something almost no one in Hollywood could do. He came back from 3 failed marriages, global criticism, public mockery, media rejection, career near death. And yet, he became more respected than ever. Even his haters said, "He's crazy, but he's the last real action hero." Tom Cruise is no longer just that Top Gun guy. He's a symbol of perfection, discipline, danger, and mystery. He's a billionaire, but you won't see him showing off. He's world famous, but he doesn't use social media. He's over 60, but he runs faster than 25-year-olds. He has become something rare, a man who controls every part of his life and gives everything he has, not to comfort, but to his craft. By now, the world had already seen what Tom Cruise could do as an actor, as a stuntman, as a warrior of discipline, and as a man who refused to age, break, or retire. But what many people didn't know was that Tom Cruise wasn't just starring in big movies, he was running them. Tom Cruise is not just an actor for hire. He's the executive producer of almost every major film he stars in. That means he controls the budget, he controls the script, he approves the director, he picks the co-stars, he chooses the camera angles, music, visual effects, editing. From the opening shot to the final credit, Tom Cruise owns the movie. This started with Mission Impossible, 1996. He bought the rights to the TV series, helped build the script from scratch, and took the financial risk himself. Studios were scared at first. They thought, he's just an actor, he's not a businessman. But when Mission Impossible became a global hit, everything changed. From that day on, Tom Cruise was not just a star. He became a studio himself. Most actors wait for a script. Most actors accept a role and follow the director. Tom Cruise does the opposite. He helps write the story, rewrites lines himself, trains with camera crews to get the perfect shot, approves every second of editing, sits with music composers to fine-tune emotions. Even during post-production, after filming, he spends months in the studio. He watches every version, gives notes, demands retakes if needed. He's like an army general, one editor said. He doesn't sleep until it's perfect. Tom's most powerful weapon? He understands the audience better than anyone in Hollywood. He once said, "I don't make movies for critics. I make them for the man who works hard all week, saves his money, and buys a ticket to escape for 2 hours. That's why. He does real stunts. No faking. He refuses lazy storytelling. He never phones it in. He gives 100%. He fights for quality over comfort." Let's talk about 2022. The world was just coming out of the COVID pandemic. Movie theaters were empty. Hollywood was panicking. Many believed cinema was dying. But then came Top Gun, Maverick. Tom Cruise had waited 36 years to make the sequel. He refused to release it on streaming. He demanded theaters. Studios said, "It's risky. People are not going to the movies. Tom said, "They will, if we give them something worth leaving the house for." He trained for months in real fighter jets. He refused to use green screens. Every scene was real, raw, high pressure. And when the movie released, it destroyed all expectations. $1.5 billion at the global box office. The biggest film of his entire career. Loved by critics, fans, and even people who didn't like him before. Some called it the movie that saved Hollywood. People cried, cheered, watched it again and again. It reminded the world why cinema matters. And Tom Cruise became the king of Hollywood once more. Behind every movie, every stunt, every smile, there's a mind that never rests. Tom Cruise is a master of timing. He waits years for the perfect release window. A student of marketing, he helps design posters, trailers, promotions. A fighter for distribution, he negotiates theater deals worldwide. He studies everything, from audience psychology to camera lens selection, from airline seat screen ratios to international subtitles. Nothing escapes his attention. Even at over 60 years old, Tom Cruise continued pushing limits. In 2023, he released Mission: Impossible – Dead Reckoning Part 1. A movie that once again proved age means nothing when your passion is bigger than your pain. This time, he performed one of the craziest stunts in movie history. He rode a motorcycle off a mountain cliff, jumped into the sky, and then free fell before opening his parachute. All for real. He trained for months, practiced the jump over 500 times, and did it 6 times during filming, until he got it perfect. The film was a success, and once again the world said, "Who else would do this? Only Tom Cruise." In May 2025, Tom Cruise released his most powerful movie yet, Mission: Impossible – The Final Reckoning. He was 62 years old, but still doing the craziest stunts, including hanging on the wing of a plane flying at full speed. No green screen, all real. This movie was not just about action. It was about legacy, sacrifice, and the final chapter of Ethan Hunt's story. It felt emotional, epic, and unforgettable. Critics called it the perfect ending to the greatest action series ever made. And once again, Tom Cruise proved, you're never too old to be great. We have seen Tom Cruise as a child with dyslexia, a teenager with broken dreams, a young man rising through pain, a global icon facing love, rejection, criticism, and risk. But now, in his 60s, who is he? What has he become? What has he lost? What will the world remember about him when the camera stops rolling? Let's find out. His wealth. Tom Cruise is not just rich. He is one of the highest paid actors in history, but he never shows it off. Estimated net worth: over $600 million. Some estimates say it could be more, closer to $800 million. Where does the money come from? Acting fees: $10 million to $100 million per movie. Producer credits: he earns % of the profits. Mission: Impossible series brought him over $300 million. Top Gun: Maverick, over $100 million just from profit share, investments in properties and planes. But what makes him different is how he uses his money. Real estate. He owns a ranch in Colorado, peaceful, private, surrounded by nature. Used to own homes in Beverly Hills and UK, but sold them to stay focused. He prefers quiet places over noisy cities. Private jet. He owns a $50 million Gulfstream G450. Personalized gym inside. Reading corner. custom interior for long travels between movie sets. But this plane is not for showing off. He uses it like a flying office. Cars and bikes. Collection includes Bugatti Veyron, Porsche 911, Ford Mustang, vintage Chevy Chevelle, and multiple custom motorcycles. Many of these are used in his films. He trains with them to stay sharp. He doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, doesn't party. Discipline gives freedom, he once said. Let's be honest. Tom Cruise has been loved by millions, but in his personal life, he has also been deeply alone. His daughter Suri, he hasn't been photographed with her since 2013. She is now 18 years old. Reports say she lives with Katie Holmes and has no contact with her father. Some say he still cares. Some say Scientology built a wall between them. Nobody truly knows, because Tom never talks about it. And that silence is perhaps the most painful part of his story. He gave everything to his career, and in the process, may have lost the closest thing to love. Tom Cruise could retire today. He could live in a mansion, fly his jet, swim in gold. But he doesn't. Why? Because he still wakes up hungry. Hungry to create, to inspire, to challenge himself. He said once, "I didn't come this far to relax. I came to build something that lasts, something people will remember after I'm gone." Tom Cruise is not just building a movie career. He's building a legend, something people will study, copy, and remember. In a world where most stars burn bright and fade fast, he stayed. For over 40 years, he has stayed relevant, powerful, respected. Because he never chose comfort. He chose excellence. Tom Cruise has said it many times. If someone watches my film and says, "I want to try harder in life," then I've done my job. That's what drives him now. Not money, not fame, but impact. That's why he risks his life on camera. That's why he trains every day. That's why he still works like he's 25. Because he knows the world is watching. And maybe someone out there is going through what he once went through. Feeling small, feeling broken, feeling left out. And maybe that person will watch a Tom Cruise film and say, "If he can rise, maybe I can too." He never won an Oscar. He never chased awards. But he won something greater, the respect of the world. He has made people laugh, cry, cheer, and hope across 5 decades. He gave us not just movies, but moments. Moments where we believed again. Moments where we dreamed again. Moments where we said, "Wow, that's what it means to give everything." What we can learn from Tom Cruise. 1. Discipline is stronger than talent. He wasn't the tallest, strongest, or smartest, but he trained harder than all of them. 2. Never let pain define you. Dyslexia, abuse, divorce, isolation. He felt it all, but he kept moving forward. 3. Give your all, or don't do it at all. Whether it's a movie scene or a life decision, Tom Cruise never gives 50%. He gives everything. 4. Protect your dream like it's your child. The world will doubt you, laugh at you, question you. But if you stay focused, you win. He was not just as an actor, not just as an action hero, not just as a billionaire with jets and stunts, but as a man who proved you can be broken and still build greatness. You can be doubted and still become unstoppable. You can lose people you love, but still hold on to the love you give to the world. That's Tom Cruise, the boy who couldn't read, who became the man the world couldn't ignore. Thank you for watching this full story. If this touched your heart, if it gave you hope, subscribe to the channel. Because on this channel, we don't just tell stories, We tell truths. We help you learn English, yes. But more than that, we help you learn life. See you in the next story. Until then, be strong, be brave, be unstoppable.